to share what it is that you like about Mr. Dow's show, what you want to hear. Any comments like he just mentioned, please don't hesitate to share them. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? And as we talk about that, it is election time. We got
Yes,
one
it
more
is.
show. Next week is our
1 week.
election day show.
7 days to go,
We get the
Brother
chance to
Kenn
get
Dowell.
on the air. It's election day. Election day. Everybody get out and vote. As
Get
Uni
out
just
and
said,
vote.
you
Vote,
got
vote,
races everywhere. You got Mike Polisic versus Anthony Harrison.
Yes, sir.
You got Joe Jones versus Juanita Brandt.
Yes, sir.
You got Wilshire versus Monet Scott. That's the Thriller in Manila.
Thriller in Manila. Going at it.
Hold on, we got the amateur fights coming up first. We got Justin Bibb versus
Laverne Gore.
Who? That's gonna be the warm up fights before all the real fights start.
Right,
Get that on
fight.
over with, right? That's an early fight.
Yeah.
That'll be an early fight. So we got election day in Cleveland.
Yes,
We're
sir.
just making fun of everybody. We wish everybody good luck out there. For everybody
working
that's out there,
hard.
keep working hard, and most importantly, we want everybody to get out there and vote. This is the most important time to do that.
Brother Dow, you said something to me that just continues to resonate with me. I know every candidate is working very hard, and we know and we thank God for that. But tell folks what you told me about. We know they're going to work hard, but what do we really want after they're working hard?
Oh.
Please say that. Those are your words, and I want you to say it.
Somebody was telling me that they were talking about candidates, and they were saying how hard the candidates work and how well they do when they're working on their campaigns. And, you would really like working with them. They are really hard workers, and they really busting themselves to get this done. I told them, I said, my experience has taught me that every candidate that's running for office usually work hard to run for office.
Yes.
It's what they do after they get into office is the problem that it always seemed to be the thing that rubs me the wrong way. And some of them, as we learned, Dr. Burton taught us, is assimilate.
Yes.
Because some of them go into office assimilating into what the status quo is, the thing that they say they don't want to be a part of, the thing that they want to change. Some of it comes from just really their intent was to just get in there in the first place. And some of them just go because, you end up in that position that if you can't beat them, join them. You know, sometimes the system just be so doggone hard and you keep running up against a brick wall that you end up joining the clan or being a part of the crew. So it's not so much how they work to me, it's what you do after you get there. And that's the hardest part that all elected officials and everybody has to face. You know,
I think that's something for us to always remember. That was well said.
Yeah, that's all. So no big deal in that at all. We just really want to make sure that these candidates do what they say they're going to do. And that's our biggest thing with most of these people that are running for office today, whether you're running for judge, if you that person that's out here that's looking to make a change here and you're tired of the justice system, this is your opportunity to do something about that. You can get out there and vote for your judge right now.
That's right.
If you're someone that's indifferent about some of the laws that are going on in the community and you want to change some of those because you believe that some of the laws that's happening in the community is just not good for our community, that's what your city council person is for. He's a person or she's a person that creates laws and the opportunities for you to do that, and that's the person you should be talking to. If you're tired of the potholes in your street, your garbage not getting picked up, you're tired of people, the police not answering when you call them, the EMS not coming, all of those other things, who you call when you have that problem, Mr. Phillips?
You call your city councilman.
No, see, there you go. That's that bull that gets us all in trouble. It's
not
you call your city councilman. You call.
You ask me who I call.
It ain't who you call. Then you giving out bad information. There you go, giving out that bad information. Don't give out bad information. Who do you call, Pastor Phillips? When
you're supposed to call the city.
No, it ain't that. You're supposed to call who? We have a number here in City Hall that you call when you have a problem.
311.
You call 311.
311. That's
what you're supposed to call. That's the city
of
you
Cleveland.
call. So when you have a problem with a pothole or anything, you're supposed to call the mayor's action line. It's 311.
That's it.
And that's all. And the reason why I'm riding him on that is because we have people out here who got misconceptions about what goes on. Now, here goes the misconception I have on reason why everybody say what they say and do what they do is because of these times we're having right now, and that's called election. Everybody's running for office, And when you out there running for office and you go knocking on the door and you knock on my door and I say, Councilman, I'm having a problem with this street out there. There's a problem with this big pothole. They don't do nothing to fix it. The councilman says then, you know what? I'm going to take care of that for you. Let me handle that for you. And the councilman takes care of that. And so next time we got a problem, instead of us doing what we should do, we call the councilman. So what ended up happening, because we're going back to the original statement when you say that people running for office versus what they do when they get into office. Now, I done ran on this statement where I done walked through the community as Mr. I'm going to solve all your problems. And I did that. Now that I'm took on that mantle, and that's the title I got. I done got into office. I finally got into this new spot. I get into this little 5x5 office they give me in City Hall. Say, this is my office, and me and my little aide is in there, and we're in there trying to solve the problems of Ward 8, Ward 10, or whatever. We go through this, and now these calls start adding up. Now getting more calls every day because people are steadily calling me every day asking me to fix their problem. And when I can't come up with a solution or I can't get it fixed as the council person, it becomes a problem. When we should be telling people all along that they should be doing what, Mr. Phillips?
You should call 311, but
All
that
right,
does
there
not
we go.
mean.
There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go.
But it does help. If 311, let me ask you, I'll turn it over to you.
Mm-hmm.
If when you call 311 and they don't come through, what do you do?
Then you're supposed to then call the next step, which is the mayor's office.
And then
because
if
the
that
mayor
doesn't
is
come
in
through-
charge of whatever it is that you're having a problem with. There's directors, there's commissioners, there's so many layers of people that's involved in a situation that you can go through before you even have to even talk to the mayor to get your situation solved. Calling the council person who we just talked about, whose job is to establish laws, is not the proper person that you call. And sometimes I think people call those people and they give them those tasks and it becomes tasks that they should. Now, again, if you walk through the community and you tell people that they should call you and you are the person that do that, then that's,
I think every
you
person,
get what you ask for,
every
right?
person I know that's running for city council will tell you, yeah, call me, especially during election season. But you know what? There was a race. I know how important that the Cleveland Housing Court race is and those folks. But also there's a race in Cleveland Heights that we didn't talk about, right, Brother Dowell? That's pretty important.
Yeah, I was going to get to that one. I ain't finished with Cleveland yet. Stay at Cleveland for a little while. We gonna get to Cleveland Heights. We back to these council members making these calls and people getting the right information. Yeah. I want to make sure that people who are voting understand what they're voting for. So again, now when you you in that situation and you got to make a decision now on who you going to have as your council person, who you going to elect as your mayor, who you going to elect as your judge, knowing what those people do is important. That's the reason why I wanted to say that. So I didn't want people to have the understanding of knowing. To your point of when we talk about the Cleveland Heights and areas like that, I live in Cleveland Heights, which is no different than most of these small suburban areas. When I have an issue that I need to have settled, I call City Hall, same process, and we go through the same steps. That's the only thing I'm saying. The council person is the last person I'm thinking about calling when I have an issue in Cleveland Heights. And I'm just saying that the same thing should be, we should more educate our voters in the city of Cleveland on how to be able to fish instead of just keep giving them fish. We should, and then we wonder why when the situation comes up, it feels like our community is disenfranchised or uneducated. It's because we're just constantly leading them down a path instead of really telling them what they're supposed to do. So we're misinformed. So we go to meetings and we're complaining about things that we shouldn't, complaining to the wrong person about issues that we're having and giving credit to the right people who should be getting the blame for it. And that's what I'd say happens a lot here in the city of Cleveland, and that's why I wanted to make that statement.
Well, I understand, but I think for people in the community, they look at, they're not going to know who the director of the services are, but they are going to know who their council person is.
They would. If you educate them, they would.
Even if hold on a second, even if I have to get some guidance from my council person, I would hope that I can be able to do that. That the council persons, when they're running for office, they absolutely hold themselves out as, I'm a point of contact. I'm going to be your advocate for this community. I'm going to be the person fighting for you at City Hall. That's at least the expectation that they present, and sometimes it's the expectation that the community has. We're sending that person downtown to City Hall to represent our community and stand up for what we need in our community. And one way they can know what's happening in our community if I tell them. So that's one of the things. I mean, for example, if there's a lot of crime going on on a Sunday night and motorcycles are riding up and down, who do you call? You can call the police and all that, but you also should call your council person. So your council person can be an advocate for making sure there's enough safety forces in your neighborhood. So there are means, and then your council person.
But that's not true. But that's not true.
Person is on you meet when they get ready to put speed bumps.
But that's not true.
They come to the ward club meetings. I've been there.
No, I get it. But what I'm saying,
leading those meetings.
But let's go back to your point again. You are a person in your community, and you want to make a complaint because there's motorcycles and stuff that's coming down the street that's giving you a problem. That's there. You have police commanders that's over every district.
Yeah.
You have district people that's inside those police departments that work with the community to be able to do and deal with those kind of problems directly. So your initial call should be with them. It shouldn't be to the council person because it should be to the people that you need to get the help from.
I'm in so much stress in my community. I'm going to call anybody and everybody that can help me solve this problem. And that's how folks who live in the community, that's how we act.
Yeah,
that is the deal.
But I think we should definitely, and I hope that Mayor Bibb and this new council that we have with the younger folks and everything that we have now will spend the time to use technology and other tools that they have to better educate the public and give tactics or ways that the public can interact directly with other forms of people to get the job done a lot quicker.
I think that's what 311 is.
And I think 311 is the way. But again, when I told you about 311, I had to pull it out of you. 311 should have been your very first response.
I'm just saying, most people, 311 is new, for one. That's a new thing.
No, 311 been around for a long time.
No, not.
Yes, it has.
How long has it been around?
Kevin Conwell sponsored legislation on 311 a long time ago.
No, but how long has it been implemented? That's one of the things that
you mayor grabbed the mic. Must have some information.
Yeah.
Because it has been around for some time. It went through a rebranding last year, and they're trying to get more eyes and ears aware of it here in Cleveland. A lot of people don't know about 311. A lot of people don't know about 211. A lot of people don't know about, what is it, 811?
411?
No, there's another one.
There is another. Do they even still have 411?
They still have 411. But that's my point. It's new to us, so I have to remember to think about that. That's right. There is 311, and they talk about that. That's one of the mayor's talking points, and that's the one thing that we actually retooled and redid and rebranded, as she said. But more importantly, this is. When you need help, when you're stressed, you need help, you're going to call anybody and everybody and lottie-dottie. Because sometimes you call the police. They don't always show up. They don't always come through because they're shorthanded. So we have to, if I can't call my councilman, you know what? Listen, I have people call me as the pastor. Hey, I say, hey, okay, I may not be able to solve this problem, but let me direct you to some resources. That's what a council person, and that's what all of us are. We really, when you think about it, we all should be a resource in our community.
All right, well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have a statement we're going to play with Councilman Richard Starr that's going to come on, and him and Stephanie House, and we're going to talk a little bit about the effects of what's going on with the SNAP benefits, and we're also going to have a little conversation with the Congresswoman Shontel Brown's office to talk a little bit about any updates of what's happening with this shutdown. So we'll be right back.
Get ready, Cleveland. It's your turn to speak up. Call in and tell us what's on your mind. Join the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell Radio Show on 95.9 FM WOVU or stream live at WOVU.org. Let's make your voice count. Let's go.
When Mayor Bibb said Cleveland can't wait, he meant it. And today, Cleveland is on the rise. Violent crime is down, we're recruiting more police, and resources are going directly into our neighborhoods. We're creating good jobs and investing in programs that keep families safe.
I'm Mayor Justin Bibb. Together, we've taken real steps to make our city safer and stronger. Now it's time to finish the job, because in Cleveland, we rise together.
Paid for by neighbors for Justin Bibb. Right leader, real results.
Ohio's general election is Tuesday, November 4th. Early voting is now available in person and by mail through November 2nd. In-person voting hours vary. The deadline to request ballots by mail is Tuesday, October 28th. This election includes policies that impact housing, healthcare, education, and public safety. For full details, including the voting schedule and election FAQs, visit boe.cuyahogacounty.gov/voters.
Support for WOVU comes from Village of Healing, a wonderful nonprofit health center led by Black women with locations in Euclid and Shaker Heights. Village of Healing offers services in gynecology, obstetrics, mental health, pediatrics, and primary care. The organization focuses on serving communities in Greater Cleveland. More information about them is available on the web at villageofhealingcle.com.
Attention Blue and Green Line riders. Major improvements to the East 79th Street Blue-Green Line station have begun. The station will remain closed for 12 to 14 months. As of Monday, June 9th, customers can learn about alternatives by using the trip planner or by calling the RTA Community Connection line at 216-621-9500. Alert contacts and trip planner can both be found on RTA's website. RTA appreciates your patience while these station improvements are being completed.
Brought to you by WOVU 95.9 FM.
Support for WOVU 95.9 FM comes from HIP Cuyahoga, connecting residents with information and resources that support healthier living. HIP Cuyahoga highlights the impact of simple habits like drinking more water, getting more rest, eating more vegetables, or spending more time with family. Learn more at hipcuyahoga.org. That's HIP Cuyahoga.org. Powered by the Centers for Disease Control and the Cuyahoga County Board of Health.
That booty. That booty. Yeah. Come on, get it. Don't wide open, laying in. And booty. And booty.
Cleveland, this is your show, your topics and your voice. Join me, Kenn Dowell, for What's on Your Mind Tuesday on 95.9 FM WOVU. Call in or comment on social media. Let's make this conversation unforgettable. Streaming live at WOVU.org.
All right, we are back, and we're going to get started with our program, second half of our program here. We're going to play a little clip. This was a clip that was played last night with Councilman Richard Starr, as well as Councilwoman Stephanie House, and they're going to talk about a resolution that they passed, and then we're going to come back with the district director for Shontel Brown, our 11th Congressional District Congresswoman, to talk about some updates of what's going on with the shutdown and anything about the SNAP benefits. So let's play that bean footage.
Councilwoman House Jones.
Very quickly, so I know everybody is aware of the changes in the stopping of SNAP recipients. SNAP distribution coming up this Saturday. And so just a reminder for Clevelanders that are needing food assistance, please contact 211, just really trying to coordinate things so that people can know. As I know, in addition to SNAP recipients, we also have federal workers, as I literally had a federal worker reach out to me today to talk about actually the need for food assistance. So please reach out to 211, and if there are any businesses who are the beneficiary of many of the federal tax cuts, to contribute to the Cleveland Food Bank so that we can expand our capacity, as there is an ever-growing demand for food assistance during this season. And if you are a charitable person, please connect to help our neighbors. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you. And also thank you all to our council members who have signed on to the letter that we will be sending, that we have sent to the governor, our state senators, as well as General Assembly members of the need for the federal government as well as our state partners to step up and the emergency clauses that are available through the Ohio USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, as well as through the Controlling Board in the state of Ohio. This is a need that is necessary, and we hope our partners on the federal and state level will do their part. Thank you.
Thank you for leading. Councilman Starr.
What's on your mind Tuesdays? Call in, comment, and connect on WOVU 95 FM, WOVU.org, and hit us up on social media.
Something that's deep in my heart right now is some of the things that Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones just mentioned. I definitely want to make sure I just say this for the record. You know, elections have consequences. And that's something we have to be real with our people. When you talk about the 2024 presidential election, I remember the memes, I remember the false jokes, I remember everything that was shared on social media, and only 150 million people around the country voted. 90 million people didn't vote. They had reasons of, I didn't like the candidates, I didn't feel like getting involved. And now we left today, almost close to a year later, with a government shutdown. So I commend myself, my colleague, Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones, for coming together and introducing the passage of this resolution number 1377, condemning the 2025 United States government shutdown and urging prompt bipartisan action to reestablish funding and protect essential services. Most people hear the word SNAP, but they don't understand what that SNAP does. When you're talking about supplemental, when you talk about different opportunities for supplemental nutrition assistance program, you're talking about a ways to feed people. And what I mean by that is, this government shutdown is about to get real. It's about to get real for a lot of individuals. And what I mean by that is, we talking about families where they got one person, the head of the household. Typically right now is a female. Got to feed 5, 6 different individuals, and they're not about to get their food stamps. That EBT card is not about to get reloaded. I don't know that many individuals who save money on their EBT card. So guess what? This government shutdown is about to impact a lot of residents. And I definitely want to make sure I address this because the population currently in Ward 5 is a little bit over close to 21,000 residents. The median income in Ward 5 is $15,000. 8 in 10 Ward 5 residents, 15,751 total, live at below 200% of the federal poverty level, which means they are eligible to receive food bank benefits. 80% of our children in Ward 5, which is a total of 5,355 children, live below the poverty rate. So when you're talking about overall bigger picture, 165,000 11th congressional district residents, including seniors, working parents, and children, will be left without the critical nutrition assistance they rely on because of this government shutdown. It's going to get real for us in Cleveland. It's going to get real in our congressional district, and we need to be able to think of ways to help. So I definitely just want to share this light on just from some policy understanding to our law director, Mark Griffin, and our director, Angela Shute-Woodson. I remember earlier this year, we were discussing transferring different funds and discretionary accounts from council member to a department. This is the reason why I say I wanted to transfer some money to be able to help in CRB. What I mean by that is, it takes so long to get a dollar out the door through this legislative process when we receive funds from the general fund into a certain account. And now you're talking about all these residents in Ward 5 that's going to be looking for me to figure out ways to help them. The county just announced that they ain't got no money. The county just announced they ain't got no money. And I look at my discretionary funds, I have a few dollars. It would be good to be able to hit Director Angela Shute-Woodson, who's in charge of community relations, and say, hey, November 1st, residents in Ward 5 are not going to be eating. But we do have 100,000. I do have 150,000 that we transfer to be able to help them. So that's why policy matters. It's not about just spending it or doing whatever you want. We should be able to hit up someone, hit up a department on collaboration to help them, to help our residents. And that's why I think we need to figure out how to make it easier to get the dollars out the door, making sure we have the right safeguard rails up. But right now, this is about to get real bad. You're talking to a person who was raised by a single mother with 6 kids. And I don't know what my mom would do right now, understanding that she ain't got a way to feed them. The food banks are saying they don't have no money. They don't got no food. This is about to hit Cleveland. They already deemed us one of the poorest major cities in this country. November 1st, them stamps are not going to be there. Thanksgiving, they're not going to be there. This is why we give out gift cards. This is why we advocate to have additional discretionary funds, because we're going to have to do something. So I do want to be able to talk to you, Director Griffin, for always having an open ear, and also with Director Angela Shute-Woodson and also Mayor Bibb, like, hey, how can we figure out how to get some things out? Because I want to make sure residents in Cleveland, especially Ward 5 residents, if I got a few dollars in one of these discretionary accounts, how can we get out the door just so our people won't go hungry? Because we don't know when this shutdown going to end, and we don't want to see these children out here doing Lord knows what just to find some food. So I appreciate y'all.
And there is Councilman Richard Starr, and he did this last night in City Council, talking in regards to his response to what needs to take place here, and that is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier when I say the difference between what your council person should be doing for you in your community, and that is advocating and passing laws and resolutions and things of that nature to be able to try to help where we are in the need of trying to do something with STEM benefits. Go ahead before we bring on Jasmine.
Well, I just thought I heard him say that he has some discretionary funds that he wants to get out to the people to help folks. That's a fantastic thing. I commend him and any other council persons to help our community. That's what you ought to be doing. Thank you for that, Councilman Richard Starr, and we appreciate, I know the clergy is trying to do something, our city government, and even the state government, the county government is trying to, but the reality is, Brother Ken, there's nothing that we can fill the gap to what the federal government is doing, but we do need to come together, and that's just good to see that we are coming together to see we can help those who we can.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to bring on Jasmine. I know her mom and her aunt and all of her family's money. I keep calling her, but her name is Jasmine Butler.
Butler, not Lastry.
She is not Lastry. She is a Butler. She is
Butler.
married, and we're going to bring her on. She is the district director for the Cuyahoga County. I can't. Why am I having a hard problem with the Congresswoman today? For the congressional district, 11 congressional district, Congresswoman Shontel Brown.
That's our girl.
And she's here to give us some kind of update. Jasmine, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we hear you loud and clear. You're coming in
awesome.
well.
How you doing, Jasmine?
We are doing. I think everyone is in tune with what's going on, at least to some degree. And the Congresswoman is working. He's working really hard, but happy to be here. Always good to be amongst friends and those who have different opinions at times too. So happy to answer any questions and get the conversation going.
Well, basically, we was calling to give you the mic to give us if there's any updates. I know that the government is on shutdown now. I think we're approaching day, I don't know what 28? Day, 28? Day 28 of this shutdown and getting across things. What are you hearing from D.C. that you can share with the public?
So there's a lot that we hear from DC, and I'll just be frank. A lot of it we hear alongside the public. We get a lot of the information in the news around the same time because of the way in which this current administration has been operating. We're not necessarily getting things in advance notice. What we know is that unfortunately the Republicans in Washington are choosing extreme politics over governing. And families are paying the price. You mentioned we're nearly a month into this shutdown, and it's a shutdown that didn't need to happen. The decision to defend tax breaks for billionaires instead of protecting the basic needs of working people has created serious consequences for people in Northeast Ohio. And it couldn't come at a worse time, right? We were already preparing to help people navigate the changes to SNAP under what Republicans call the big, beautiful bill. It's not very beautiful for a lot of folks in our district, which is a district that is one of the top 15 of over 300 congressional districts. Top 15 for receiving SNAP benefits. So what does that mean as it relates to impact for what was already going to be creating some devastating changes to the resources that our constituents need desperately, on top of this new change as it relates to the shutdown and adding this added layer of crisis. It's been devastating. And you know, I would be remiss if I don't reiterate something that the Congresswoman says all the time. This is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. This is a hunger issue. This is an issue because SNAP benefits is going to end if this does not get resolved on November 1st. And, you know, at the end of the day, a long term, what that means long term is that, you know, it's not just a temporary inconvenience. It's a direct threat to food security in a community where SNAP is essential for survival, period. And people are already going to struggle with the new federal SNAP rules, which is something that we've been working alongside of our partners to help to communicate as we are still learning what that even is going to look like, as the rules have not been determined yet. And a lot of folks may not realize as bills are passed, there are still rules for implementation that the state and local government has to follow, but the rules haven't come out. And so that puts our local folks in a weird position where they're going to try to develop some sort of a process with what they have, which could change tomorrow. As we're noticing every day, we don't know what we're going to wake up to. I will say the administration has taken a small step in reopening a few USDA offices and ensuring commodity payments for farmers, but they haven't acted to protect food assistance. And we can't prioritize corporate subsidies and ignore hunger, period. So we know if they can move quickly for the industry, they should be able to move just as fast for families.
That is wild.
That is wild. They can do that, Director. They can, even in the midst of a government shutdown, what I'm hearing you say, they can still get money to the corporate farmers, but can't get money to us as individuals. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Well, you're absolutely correct. That is what I'm saying. And there is contingency funding available.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Congress passed some contingency funding that was supposed to be set aside for this type of situation, but they're saying that the funds were supposed to be used for like national disasters and stuff. They actually wrote in I think I read something where they said they wrote in there that the reason is for national disasters, not because Democrats don't want to act right or something like that.
Wow.
It was something along. Am I right along that line, Jasmine? Or pretty
There's
close?
a lot of different rhetoric as to why the Republican Party or this administration, I will say respectfully, is suggesting that they cannot use contingency funds. However, we know that from past experience, there have been the use of these funds for situations similar to this.
So
we know, one, it can happen, and what we do recognize is that they're making choices. They're making choices based on who is most important in their spaces. And unfortunately, the Congresswoman has absolutely called that out. She has reached out to the USDA asking for the use of these contingency funds, because we can't play games with people's lives. And that's what it's really coming down to, is the fact that this is not just about filling somebody's card with $1. Right. It's about making sure that we're able to ensure our constituents can meet the needs, and from our seniors to our veterans to our disabled community members to a variety of people who use SNAP for a variety of reasons. Right. Can make sure that they are able to survive every day.
That's just evil. That's evil. That is evil at its worst place. And I like what Councilman Starr said yesterday. Elections have consequences. This is good versus evil, bad versus good. And I just can't believe that there are funds available that they don't want to use to help people who are in need. That's just straight up evil.
Well, go ahead, Jasmine.
No, go. I was just going to say, I totally hear what you're saying. And I do also want to be abundantly clear. And the Congresswoman has also called on the governor to use the funds that they have in order to bridge the gaps. But she is also clear that this is not the state and local government's problem. It's not their fault. Right. And so, we appreciate the efforts of our local folks, our other stakeholders, and the folks that we have good relationships with, who are willing to understand the fight that the Congresswoman is up against. Because not only are we dealing with the SNAP issues on November 1st, but the Affordable Care Act tax credits are going to also be something that will change on November 1st. So while families are fearing losing food assistance, the Republicans are also pushing a budget that eliminates the enhanced ACA premium tax credits. More than 56,000 people in Cuyahoga County right now rely on those savings. And just to give you some perspective, a family, a typical Cleveland family of four, could see their premiums double from $2,400 a year to $4,800 a year. And these are families that are already struggling, many living paycheck to paycheck. We're already dealing with inflation, food costs rising outside of the SNAP benefits being put in the crosshairs in this situation. It's an impossible choice right now for a lot of people. And the Congresswoman is absolutely fighting to make sure that these resources don't just go and fall by the wayside.
Hey, we got a familiar person for you here, somebody you very familiar with. He came in. We had, before you got here, Councilman, we played your video of last night with you and Councilwoman House, and new resolution and things that you passed. I wanted you to, we have Jasmine Butler on the line from the Congresswoman office. As you know, she's giving us information. Jasmine, please, you can join in on the conversation. But we have Councilman Richard Starr. He's going to give us a little bit more background about what you heard last night, and you can tune in a little bit about what Jasmine was just talking about.
First, thank you to Congresswoman Shontel Brown, as well as her office, especially Jasmine, for just always being a call away, responsive, and always fighting the good fight for everyone in her district. You know, it is sad that we have to fight all the time for just human rights, and being able to have the resources that is available from the federal government to be stopped because of disagreements is bad. So last night, me and Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones, we co-sponsored a resolution, 1377-2025. This resolution is condemning, making sure that we condemn the United States government shutdown and urging for a prompt bipartisan action to reestablish funding and protect essential services. The goal of this is to be able to make sure our Congresswoman know that Cleveland, City Council, the city of Cleveland, we understand the fight she's having and giving her some extra support that we know that the impacts of this shutdown are having on residents in the 11th Congressional District, and also how it's going to impact in Ward 5. So last night, I had the honor of being able to just speak on the floor, and I wanted to make sure I bring it home to residents because, I remember in 2024 president election, right? I remember the memes. I remember the social media ads. I remember people thinking what someone said they can't do versus what someone was telling you they're going to do. And now a year later, we talk about only 150 million people voted. Meanwhile, 90 million other individuals in this country did not vote. So elections have consequences. And this ongoing federal government shutdown, which is set to continue into November, will have significant impacts on various aspects of life, including the residents, obviously, in Ward 5. And some people don't understand where I'm coming from with understanding this because I grew up on SNAP benefits. My mom is a single mother and raised 6 children. So she needed the federal government assistance. She needed to make sure that she had everything she can to feed us. So when you talk about SNAP, the benefits that they have, you can be able to purchase eligible food items, which include fruits, vegetables, meat, poultry, fish, dairy products, bread, cereals, and all other staple foods. Now you're telling me that on November 1st, we are at jeopardy that individuals or families where the head of a household is one individual, a mother who possibly have 4 or 5 other additional mouths to feed, is going to be able to not feed their families because of the government shutdown? That is alarming.
It is.
That is alarming. Do you not understand when people get them stamps are there to be able to help you for that month. This is not something that they just say, hey, I spent only half my stamps and I got a half left. No, that is not the best practice they have. They're getting it because they don't have it. They don't have the means or don't have the resources and the resources that the federal government is able to provide. Now you're telling me potentially November 1st, they're not going to have that car reloaded up. And you talk about people who made memes and jokes saying, I don't do politics. This is living proof that politics are doing our people. So when we be talking about getting out and being engaged and voting, it may not have a direct impact on you, but have an indirect effect on you as well as your grandma, your seniors, your aunts, your cousins. I don't care where you at. Somebody in your family needs this assistance.
That's right.
And it's not about what you have and what not, because they really showing you it's about the have and the have-nots.
That's right.
And when I talk about Ward 5, when they projected a population in 2021, 2022, there's 21,000 residents in Ward 5. The median income in Ward 5 is $15,351. When you talk about 8 and 10 Ward 5 residents, which is a total of 15,751 total, live at below or below 200% of the federal poverty level, which means they are all eligible for food bank and SNAP benefits. When you talk about the 5,355 children living at below the poverty rate in Ward 5, they're all going to be impacted. And you telling me what people are going to do, what people won't do to be able to feed their families. You talk about a whole system that can be brought down where you talk about crime happening because people are trying to figure out a way to make ends meet. When you live in a survival mode, you don't have the mentality or understanding. So when people talk about this government shutdown, when they talk about the impact that it's going to have in the 11th Congressional District, where over 165,000 residents are impacted off of this shutdown, man, I'll stand with our Congresswoman Shontel Brown because she's doing everything in her power in her office to fight this battle. No, we can't roll over and just lay down and let one side of the aisle just disrespect us and take away our God-given rights that we're supposed to have. This is not something that is going to be easy. So I'm glad that me and my colleagues are trying to do our best. And like you heard from Ms. Butler earlier, she said, hey, this is not necessarily a local or a county government or any other. This is a federal issue that they are fighting, and they need us and individuals that is in this 11th Congressional District. If you're in the state of Ohio, you need to be championing and screaming and fighting and helping making sure we get this shutdown ended immediately.
Amen.
Ms. Butler, Ms. Butler, you still with us?
I'm still here.
yeah.
I'm still here. I'm just nodding along.
Oh, no problem.
Because this is incredible.
This is our. This I'm going to give you a chance to give us your closing remarks. We're rolling closer to the end of the program, so I want to give you a closing remarks. If there's something you do, any information you want to give us, or anything you want to let the people know, we're going to go around and let you go, Phillips, and we're going to let Councilman Starr end our show. So we're going to start with you. Anything you want to end the show with? Go ahead.
First of all, thank you for sharing this space, and the rapid response to what's going on is going to be critical. So just for those folks who are not as familiar with the technical nuances to how this program works, this pause is going to mean that no new benefits are going to be loaded onto EBT cards in November until the federal government reopens, unless somebody makes a different decision at the USDA, which they have not had any indication or made any indication that is something that they will do. Any SNAP benefit that's already loaded is going to remain available and can still be used as normal. But once the funding resumes, missed November benefits will be issued retroactively. That is what we know as of right now. Now, how does this impact our community? Councilman Starr already talked about the impacts. We know 1 in 5 households in Ohio's 11th congressional district rely on SNAP. It's one of the highest concentrations in the state of Ohio, it is by far the highest concentration and one of the highest in the country. 39% of those folks who are recipients have a child in the household. 42 have an elderly person in their household, and 51% have a person with a disability in their household. The Congresswoman has reached out on every level of government that she can to see about ending this shutdown and managing it the best way that we can as it relates to the SNAP benefits. However, what you can do, and please keep your EBT card active. This is one of the most important things that I know our county has been emphasizing. You might not get a reload. However, make sure you are uploading your documents and staying enrolled, because when this comes to an end, if you are not enrolled, the re-enrollment process will likely be much harder, and it may take much longer, and you may not be able to receive the funds that you would have received retroactively. So shout that from the rooftops. Anyone who's receiving these benefits, please make sure they know when their benefit documents need to be submitted. Don't play around. They're changing the rules. If you're not sure, you play loosey-goosey, this is not the time to do it. Stay on your toes with this and continue to apply to renew for the benefits, and then check for updates. Follow us on social media, follow the Congresswoman, making sure that as we get more information, we do post on social media as well as via email, but just stay connected.
Right on. Pastor Phillips.
Yes, thank you, Sister Butler, for joining us from the Congresswoman's office. And I just want to say, Ken, 2 things. I said this at church a couple weeks ago. I think people need to understand, even though this directly affects our community, but also affects white folks. And I think that when white folks figure out that this just wasn't, that their EBT card is not going to be loaded too, we're going to see a rebellion from that. Also, this is a whole ecosystem. When people aren't going to the grocery store, buying those groceries, that impacts the grocery store workers, that affects the entire economy. So it's not just that person getting those EBT stamps, it's a whole ecosystem that it directly impacts. And we're gonna have a hard road to go. I really love what Councilman Starr said. Elections do have consequences.
Councilman.
I just want to say thank you for just this opportunity just to be able to share the information with the people. Information is power, and we have our work to cut out, and I don't think we're going to just roll over and lay down. We got to fight to make sure everything that is needed for our neighborhoods happens. So I stand side by side with our Congresswoman Shontel Brown, who continues to do the work to make sure we all collaborate to be able to help our families.
All right, y'all. That's what we need to do. Everything, like they said, is true. Election has consequences. And what Pastor Phillips was also talking about, when we talk about small businesses in our communities, these communities are already areas where they call food deserts. And most of these businesses there are small businesses that depend on the ecosystem of these small communities receiving that. So what we're saying is that a month or 2 months of a business losing that is enough to close that business, and that business is gone. So what we're saying is when this government does reopen and we keep that business is gone. It ain't like that business is going to come right back because it's happened. So we got to be mindful of all of that stuff that's going. So I want everybody to stay prayerful, do what you can, pull together as much as you can, try to coordinate and collaborate with everyone that you can. In the words of Pastor Phillips, reach out to your council member, reach out to your mayor's office, reach out to anybody that you can to try to get some help and get as much information as you can, because we're about to hit troubled waters. Till next week. We'll see you then. Peace.
Cleveland, this is your show, your topics and your voice. Join me, Kenn Dowell, for What's on Your Mind Tuesday on 95.9 FM WOVU. Call in or comment on social media. Let's make this conversation unforgettable. Streaming live at WOVU.org.